Hi, hello everyone. A very good morning to all of you. So I welcome you all to this PubAt Planner Bootcamp, wherein we are going to chart the course on how do we begin with public administration as an optional. For you all, there is a worksheet that is there. So this bootcamp is going to be there for 5 days, including today. And every session will have a worksheet where you are expected to, give in your responses. You are expected to note down your responses. Also, you can take out a couple of rough sheets with you. Okay, so that, the exercises, the activities that we are going to perform are recorded with you. And then we can obviously discuss these worksheets as we go about these sessions. So the place where you are logged in e-material section, you will have the worksheet. So just let me know, friends who are watching this session online. For the ones who are here, the worksheets are going to be handed out in the printout format. For those who are watching this session online, download the worksheet from e-material section. So just download and confirm, have you got the worksheet? And we'll be interacting through the chat interface in the session. I'm putting out messages there for you all to see and reply. Hi Rayasam, hi Prashasti, Yogesh, Anil Kumar, Rahil, Pavitra. Come on friends, give me a green light. Have you got the worksheet? Rasam, you can ask your queries. It will surely help you a bit, but largely it is for freshers. All right, do we have this worksheet, friends? Friends who are there online? Just check the e-material section for the worksheet. Hi Naveen. Download this worksheet from the e-material section. And every day, we are going to have one worksheet with us. Okay, some of you have got it. Rahil, just look at the e-material section. Just confirm to me, everyone, that you have the worksheet. All right. Then let's embark on our journey for public administration. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Abhishek Saxena and I teach public administration here. So, coming to the idea of public administration as something that we all do, choose an optional. Okay. So why have we chosen public administration as an optional?
So actually my background.
Beto, this is not college.
So actually my background is not related to any optional. So I am from BTech background.
Okay.
That's why when I chose the optional subject when I looked into it, so I find out the public administration is best suitable for me.
Okay. So hi Daksh, hi Pavijagan. So those of you who are joining us right now, just download the worksheet you will find in the e-material section. Just have this worksheet. Easy to score, overlapping syllabus, etc., etc. Well, let me tell you that all of you have made the right choice when it comes to selecting public administration as an optional. Okay, because when we talk about an optional, we have to really look at the scheme of things. You have 5 papers, GS 1 to 4 and essay, which is of 250 marks each, right? That is 1250, and 500 marks for optional. Basically, these 7 papers count in the merit when we talk about the mains examination. Of course, there are 2 language papers which are of qualifying nature and do not count in the merit. So while choosing an optional, because this is something that is common to everyone, right? And we have a cycle of the examination wherein the year-long cycle, basically it's 1.5 year-long cycle, but the cycle breaks in between and the next year starts while the current cycle is underway, right? That is how the things are. So while choosing an optional, because it is good 500 marks, if I see the whole scheme of things of the written part of the mains examination, out of 1750, 500 marks is approximately 30%. And this can actually make or break your game in the examination, right? So when we choose an optional, it's a very strategic choice. For our friend here, Akash, who's in the class with us, he said he belonged to a BTech, a technology background, and therefore there was no specific subject that was there. Hardly few core engineering subjects, mechanical, electrical, civil, etc. are there. But other engineering subjects, whether it is computer science, biotechnology, aerospace engineering, blah, 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 they are not there. And hence public administration was his choice. Let me tell you, public administration as an optional is a very background neutral optional. So you have a certain level playing field when you start with the optional. Because one, it is not largely taught in universities. Okay, there are a few universities only which teach public administration. IGNOU being one of them. So you know IGNOU is an open university. So a regular classroomish teaching with regards to public administration is something which is not very, common, very prevalent out there. So it's a great equalizer. And let me tell you, it has been one of the most successful optionals. Every year a topper can be from one optional or the other. That is something, because out of these 1750 marks, and then you add the personality test, the interview, the game can shift anywhere, right? One paper here and there and the game can shift in terms of the ranking. But consistently 7 to 8% of the final recommended candidates have had public administration as their optional. So this tells you that certainly we have more than 10-12 optionals in the UPSC. So this tells you of the success rate, and hence it's a very rewarding optional. So the very first thing is the background neutrality, because let us say if you have a history, you have a pol science in which a lot of people do graduations, right? Or you have a geography. So there the people who are graduates in a certain discipline or postgraduates have a certain edge. Whereas public administration does not have that sort of a tendency largely. Out of 100,000, you will find hardly 1 or 2 people who have had academic background in public administration. Rest of them do not have it. Apart from this, the success rate, the easy availability of the material, the easy availability of guidance, and a demonstrated long history with the UPSC examination, that makes public administration a very sought after optional. Okay. Another aspect that I will come to, that why public administration is the right choice, because many of you are freshers, and as somebody who teaches public administration for a living, it is my responsibility to establish the credentials of the subject that we are all about to embark. Mind you, this 5-day boot camp is to orient you towards the subject, and after a small gap we'll be beginning the regular classes for public administration. So that is something to be noted, that apart from this, the examination that all of you are striving for, that is the civil services examination. You all want to be civil servants, right? IAS, IPS, IRS, right? What all you are supposed to do? What all are we supposed to do? Hi Bharat. So those of you who have just joined, download the worksheet from the e-material section. Download this worksheet from the e-material section. Okay. What all are you expected to do? You are expected to do administration, Indian Administrative Services, right? Just give me a moment. Right. So what all are you expected to do? You are expected to do administration. You will have to manage people, government's resources, right? You will have to sort of work, realize certain goals in the examination while you are preparing, and when you are in service, you will have to realize certain goals of the examination, as well as the task that you will be given at the district level. It can be construction of roads, provision of health facilities, education, carrying out India's foreign policy, right? Or in the taxation regime, whether it is GST, whether it is income tax, whether it is the management of railway services. So all of you are college graduates, yes? So all of you would have had a principal or a dean or a chancellor. What that person is doing? What that person is doing? That person is managing the entire institution, right? This is, in a very rudimentary sense, administration. When we scale it up to a national level, the tasks, the goals, etc. get further complex. Okay, and that is where the various facets of administration will come into the picture, right? Take for example your family. Your family has a certain income, it has certain expenditure, right? And for that you do certain planning, you organize the stuff in your family. Okay, I will go to work, this is when the maid will come, this is what the tasks are to be performed, etc. Okay, for those of you who don't have the worksheet, Rohit from our team has very kindly put in the link for the worksheet. Kindly download the worksheet through that. So you will do planning, you will organize, you will keep people, whether you're driver, gardener, maid, right? So all of these activities you do as a part of your daily life is what? It is the management, right? Though technically the management and administration are somewhat different, similar yet different, and we'll try and obviously understand that when we will take up substantive classes. But we all do this. Today you are here, you are preparing for the examination, you have set out a goal for yourself, right? According to that you plan, allocate resources, time, money, put in an effort. So if we see administration as an activity that is very intrinsic to a human life, right? Even animals, if you see, they have a life cycle. They have a day-to-day activity that, okay, if I'm a bird, I will wake up very early in the morning, right? Make some noises, go collect grains, build my nest, live there, lay eggs, care for my eggs, right? So there are a series of activities. So the activity of administration, if we see, it is very intrinsic to the human life, and therefore that makes public administration a very practical, application oriented subject. Therein you can see things happening in real time. For example, I say there is corruption. You will say yes, a policeman or a postman or a licensing officer I have encountered in my life for some task, for some certificate, for some document, it is corrupt. All of you have been to universities, either graduated or are about to graduate. Let us say I am going to collect a migration certificate. The counter clerk will say that go deposit the money in the same bank branch of the university or college, get a challan, and then we will process. Right? You will say, yaar, what is happening? Why can't he take a UPI? So we can say that system that is prevailing is inefficient. The system that is prevailing is inefficient. So I can feel it. I can see this around me. It is nothing but highly common sense, application, day-to-day oriented, yet very dynamic. So therefore it appeals to people of diverse academic backgrounds. Right? Next, coming to the utility for the examination. If you see, these 500 marks are there and we are looking at these 1250 marks. Where does public administration help us? Success rate, background, easy material, guidance, the nature of the subject which appeals to a lot of people. Apart from this, there is also an empirical, angle associated with it. You see, the subjects that we deal with in this examination, right, and the optional that we take has a heavy bearing on return on investment. How much time are we putting in? Can we study one topic and use it at multiple places? Right? Or if I am studying something in GS, let me simplify it. I am studying something in GS, can with a little more technical orientation, I can use it in my optional. Or if I am studying something in my optional, can I use it somewhere in my general studies? So that will lessen your effort, right? That will lessen your effort overall. So in that case, if you will see GS paper 2, Polity, Governance and Social Justice section, they together make for 200 marks because 50 marks is IR. And it is this 200 marks where PubAd gives you heavy advantage. Because in public administration, we use the concepts of polity, especially in public administration paper 2. So these 200 marks are something that almost in toto overlap with public administration. Now coming to economics, whether it is planning, whether it is budgeting, these are the activities that actually shape up one of the key part of the Indian economy section. That is also something that you cover in public administration. So I will add 50 for that as well. Disaster management, internal security, I will conservatively add 100. Ethics, integrity and aptitude, GS paper 4, where more often than not in case studies you are put in the shoes of an administrator, right? And you are asked to make decisions, just like head of your family, your father, your grandfather will make decisions because they are head of the family, what to do, how to do, when to do. Right? Similarly, in the ethics paper, you are put as an head of an institution. You will be an SP, you will be a district collector, you will be a revenue officer, and you will have to make decisions. So decision making is a key activity that is being taught in public administration. It is all about decision. What is administration? What to do, how to do, what to plan, how much money to allocate, when to happen, what effort to put. All of these are what? These are decisions. And in that sense, around 125 marks, including case studies, etc., etc., safely you cover through public administration, or public administration gives you an edge in that. Okay? Now, disaster management, internal security, economics, governance and social justice, ethics. Right? Coming to an essay. Essays, we have seen over the previous years that a lot of philosophical essays are being asked. And in that sense, if you see, in the philosophy also there is a practical angle, because one will be the ideals and other will be the practical angle. So in that also, a person with the knowledge of public administration has an edge. So that gives you advantage of another 75 or so marks, if I can conservatively put it. And mind you, this is just the GS part. So if we total this, 550 marks out of 1250. Right? Is my maths correct? Okay, so 550 marks out of 1250 is something that it is giving you an advantage of, and another 500 for the optional itself. So it gives you an advantage of around 1050 out of, that's a huge number, isn't it? And mind you, while this is happening, please take the worksheet. From outside, take the worksheet. Okay. So in that sense, if you will see, this is there. And in the interview, you all have very senior retired IAS officers, big bureaucrats who have had experience in the government for 25, 30, 35, at times 40 years. Right? So you are bound to be asked a question or two.
No one is out there.
Sorry?
No one is out there, and I don't.
Take this one. So if you will see in the interview as well, you will find that public administration, conservatively if I say, will give you an edge of around 50 marks, if not more. Okay? Conservatively 50 marks. So that makes 1100 out of the total 2000 plus. So public administration comes across as a highly rewarding optional in that sense. Okay. More so, whenever you will qualify the exam, I'm sure all of you will someday.
Sir, actually, I was here for boot camp, right? Sir, writing boot camp.
That's happening upstairs.
Upstairs,
Okay.
okay.
So just give it to me. So whenever you will go to the academy, there are academic activities, whether you go to Labasna, whether you go to National Police Academy, whether you go to Foreign Services Institute, right? And all of that, actually, they teach you administration. And there are academic activities, obviously they are of competitive nature. Topping exam is one thing, topping the training is another thing, right? So in that also the knowledge of administration, because there you will have people from geography, history, anthropology, PSIR, etc., etc. And all of them will be taught administration, almost at a similar level that you prepare for the examination. Yes, some more details will be there. So there also you will have an edge. So some of you can enjoy Masuri more than others if you qualify the examination with public administration. So that makes public administration a quintessential optional. I challenge you, bring me a more relevant optional than public administration for this examination. Now, coming to the agenda of the day, right? How many of you have seen the syllabus of public administration? Dekha? How many of you have seen the syllabus for public administration? Tell me. Friends watching this session online, tell me. How many of you have seen the syllabus of public administration? Okay. How many unit Rahil has seen? What about the others? Rayasam, Pavitra, Anikumar, Naveen, Yogesh, Prashasti, Atul, Daksh, Pavijagan, Akash, Praveen, Mudit, Kabir. How many of you have seen the syllabus? So if you will see, and let me break some news to you. If we see, in every optional we have 2 papers of 250 marks each. Paper 1 and paper 2. Right? And if you will see the units, paper 1 has 12 units and paper 2 has 14 units. Some of you will think that, oh my God, there are 26 units in total. Right? But if we will see the syllabus in reality, there is a high degree of interlinkage, both within the papers, that is between paper 1 and paper 2, also within the same paper. You will find that these units are related. You will find one information from one unit actually feeds into the other. And in this way, if you will see, while UPSC gives us an official detailed syllabus, I have sort of rearranged that syllabus for you, that you will find on page number 7 onwards from the bottom. And if you will see, I have broken down the syllabus for you in a manner that those units that should be read together, those topics that should be read together from page number 7 onwards, from the last part of page number 7, we can practically boil this down to around 22 units. We can practically boil this down to 22 units. on the first page itself, right? If you want, you can all open up your mobile phones or tablets or laptops and see the actual syllabus of the UPSC, and then see this syllabus the way I have arranged. For later consumption, I have written a short write-up as well, just before the syllabus, for you all to actually reflect on the subject later today. So, if you will see these units and the first page where the micro detailing examples I have given, they have a high degree of overlapping with the general studies, and I have given those in the table. So for example, in paper 1, we have a unit of financial administration. And in paper 2, we have a unit of financial management. This I am taking because there are obviously immense interlinkages, dependencies that are there, but these are units that are somewhat understandable by the names because all of you are new to the subject. So if you will see the syllabus of financial administration, you will find that the topics of budgeting, accounting, auditing, financial administration is unit 12, paper 1. Monetary policy, fiscal policy, borrowing, debt, budget, accounts, audit. And when you will see the financial management, that is unit 9 in paper 2, you will find that same budget, fiscal monetary policy, because it is talking about parliamentary control over the expenditure and other things, role of finance ministry, right, audit, accounting. So same things are being talked about. So that makes public administration as a subject which can be compressed to 20-22 odd units. The accounting will remain the same, right? As a concept it will remain the same. Whenever we teach a concept somewhere, we always take the concept and then take an India example. So what is accounting as a concept, and we will take an India example. That will cover both the paper 1 and paper 2 aspect. Similarly, if you will see the unit of personnel administration, paper 1, you will find recruitment, training, human resource management as an aspect. And then if you take civil services, unit paper 2, there we are talking about what? The recruitment, management, training of our own civil services, you all aspiring to be IAS, IPS officers. So there is a high degree of overlapping that exists in public administration. And that makes the syllabus very easily manageable. And if you see many of the toppers that have qualified this examination, in their talks, in their discussions after being selected, have referred to this interlinking aspect, have referred to this practical aspect, have referred to this high ROI aspect, return on investment, that one drives out of public administration as an optional. Okay. So now, if you will see the syllabus, I'll detail out the syllabus for you all as per the UPSC official syllabus, right? And then we will see certain interlinkages that are there, and then there is a exercise that is for you all. But before that, I want you to just skim through the worksheet that I have provided, and if regarding the syllabus, just focus on the syllabus and our discussion till now, there are any doubts, let me know. You have 2 minutes for this. Just have a look at it. Everybody has the worksheet? Yes. Should I continue? Come on friends who are there online, just give me a green light on this. Should I go ahead? Yes or no? Alright. Now, tell me one thing that you have observed, because you have now seen the syllabus and everything. What do you think differs in paper 1 and 2? How does it differ? Tell me. See, my sessions are going to be like this. I will ask questions, because unless we ask questions, unless we interact, you can probably watch any video, then there is no use. Hanji, I understand that all of you are new to the subject, so I am not demanding an expert opinion on this. Understand? What I am asking is cultivation of simple skills, that how do we read something and how do we comprehend something. So what is the difference that you find in paper 1 and 2? What is your observation? Tell me. Batao Akash.
Paper 1 looks like a vertical base, like paper 2 is the example based of paper 1.
Paper 2 is practical. That's a first-hand observation. That is not incorrect, because paper 1 is known as administrative theory and paper 2 is known as Indian administration. Mind you, why am I bringing this up? To begin with, before we detail out on the syllabus, I told you that each paper is of 250 marks. Right? And this is a fact which is commonly known, but very few people will tell you, because they themselves not realize, including many teachers. Right? This is what I mentioned. I was lying. Each paper is of 400 marks, out of which you have to attempt 250 marks. Why am I saying this? Because this strategic orientation, this exam orientation is something that is indispensable. We are not here to do PhDs in public administration. We are here to crack this exam, period. So that means that the entire syllabus that you read as part of paper 1 will be fanned across 400 marks in the examination, out of which you will be asked to attempt of 250 marks. Similar is the case with paper 2. And that is where the acumen, that is where the basic correlation of reading and understanding matters. See, the structure of the examination is like this. Each question is of 50 marks. Question number 1 and 5 are compulsory. So this is section A and this is section B. 5, 6, 7, 8 is section B. Question number 1 and 5 are compulsory. That means 100 marks. Out of question 2, 3, 4 and 6, 7, 8, you have to attempt 3 questions. At least 1 each from section A and section B. Okay. So that is where it matters. Because the entire 400 units are spread. Entire 400 marks are spread across the paper 1 and similarly with paper 2, 12 and 14 units respectively. So when you will deeply analyze them, you will find that there are certain questions which are, certain units which are forming the part of paper A and certain units which are forming the part of paper B. Mind you, in certain optionals that is fixed. In public administration it is not fixed. but largely you can see a pattern, but there can be one or two aberrations here and there, but largely it will hold. Okay, so each question 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, paper 1 is like 20, 15 and 15. Whereas in paper 2, it is 20, 20, 10. Question number 1 and 5 have 5 parts, subparts A, B, C, D, E of 10 marks each. That is common to paper 1 and paper 2. So the strategic choices that we make in the examination, that is critical, right? Are we all following this? Have we all understood this? Yes or no? Come on, I need your responses. Understood this? Hanji, understood? Friends who are online? You see, this is what a strategic approach I try to bring to the classes, the foundation classes that we are about to start in some time. Because merely a college lecture mode does not give you the strategic edge. It is like I equip you with weapons and push you in the battlefield with no training on how to fire them, how to use them. So that is why it is not just teaching. It is something that goes beyond the obvious. Okay? So this approach is something, yes, others, Cheshta, Bharat, Sridevi, Naveen, Pavijagan, Kunal, Tejaswani. Have you all understood this aspect that I am telling you, that each paper is of 400 marks. We have to attempt 250 marks out of this. Yes or no? Come on, I need an audience that is alive. Alright, so this is the logic. Now when you will see the units and when you will see the interlinkages that I am talking about from page number 7, 8 onwards, you will find that when you will grow with the subject and you will analyze the PYQs, that it is one of the most simplest subjects to master. Right? In 5 months, you can actually master public administration, 5.5 months. Right? And we'll bloody well do this in our sessions, that after 5.5 months, we are very much ready to face the examination. Provided we all, me and you all, work hard towards that particular goal. Right, now I will come to the details of the syllabus. Paper 1, administrative theory. And I want you to keep the handout with you and keep checking the stuff that we are actually looking at. So the first unit is named as introduction. You see, every subject has its own theories, vocabulary, right? It has content when it comes to definition, and of course, concepts. And within that concept comes various topics. If you look at, and this will be a bit philosophical for you all, if you look at the entire UPSC examination, any subject, it is this micromanagement of the topic. If we have mastered the topic, then we have mastered the exam. There will be a question. If you can, out of the entire syllabus, pinpoint that question or trace back that question to a topic, or it can be multi-topical set of topics. So you have already demarcated your territory. You don't have to think beyond. And then you have to just fan out that, okay, if I am looking at this cup, this is what? A cup, right? It has a handle, it has a carrying capacity, it has a material, it will be filled or not filled to a certain amount. How much filled it is? Can you tell me? How much filled it is? Can anybody tell me how much filled it is? Not, I'm asking about not the empirical figure, this many mLs, but half, full, what is it? Can anybody tell me? 1/3. Daksh says 1/3. It is 100% filled. Sometimes with a liquid, some other times with air. But it is filled. It is not a vacuum. You see? So this is something that we talk about dimensions. That a set of topic needs to be seen across various dimensions. And more often than not, a question will pin to a topic and certain dimension or dimensions related to that topic. So if we are able to, during our learning, handsomely manage this, then we have practically managed the preparation. Right? Break it down, break it down, break it down further. See the most granular part that you can see. And that will help us actually identify and cover the syllabus more effectively. Because it is through these dimensions and topic that there will be interlinkages that will be drawn. It's like a puzzle, right? You have one part plugging with another part, and then you make a complete picture. Okay, so that is going to be our modus operandi for the sessions that we will be taking. Now, coming to the syllabus, the first unit is introduction. And why I gave all this gyan? Because this unit sets the tone for the introduction of the subject. That is why it is named as introduction. It talks about meaning, scope, significance of public administration. You see, every optional, because an optional is expected to be known by a candidate at greater depth. It is not general studies. So there would be scholars. For example, you have all studied physics somewhere, right? At least 10 tak to sabne padhi hai. Right? At least 10 tak to we all have studied physics. So in that you have Newton, you have Bernoulli, you have various scholars who have given certain theories. That is science. This is social science. So here also you will have certain scholar. So there is one of the foremost scholar is Wilson. He was a scholar. He was an ex-US president. Because generally the discipline of public administration, though so common, though so natural to human life, in the modern times, it has been developed largely in the West. But it is not something that is limited to West. Like I said, it is very crucial to the human existence itself. It is there in you and me. You have come to the class, dressed up, taken a bath, planned your day. Right? So this element of administration is present. Our body itself is an administration. We eat, we digest food, we generate energy, we utilize that energy to achieve certain tasks and goals. Right? So there are various scholars, including Wilson. Like I said, the modern day public administration that we see has largely been developed in the West. The West has been the cradle for the development of public administration in recent times. But in reality, it is so much natural to all of us. Also, in the ancient times, you have had scholars, for example, Chanakya. Chanakya Niti, there used to be this program which also used to come on Doordarshan. Chanakya. You would have seen various clips on Instagram about some, governance. You have seen Mahabharata, you have seen Ramayana, there is all about governance, Praja, right? So, it is not something that the knowledge we have is because of West. No, but in recent times, if I go back to past 100-200 years, it has largely been the West that has been the cradle of the development of a discipline, of a development of the subject. Now the beauty of public administration is that it is not just a subject, it is also a profession. You have IAS officers, IPS officers, they all carry out administration as a matter of profession. But we also study it as a discipline or a subject. So the development of the discipline has largely been recently carried out in the West, because the world was Western. It was colonized. But it is not limited to West. We have had, even in India, great scholars, other scholars in the history, Machiavelli, etc., that have worked extensively on administration. So one of the scholar is Wilson. Then it talks about the evolution of the discipline, how it evolved over a period of time, right? For example, I talk about physics. Before Einstein's E is equals to mc square, or if I talk about chemistry, there is a periodic table. Before the standard periodic table that we follow today, you had a Mendeleev's periodic table, right? So the subject has evolved. Similar is the case of public administration. How, why, what are the milestones of this evolution that we study here? Then obviously evolution of the discipline and its present status. I hope you are all following up with the worksheet. In worksheet I have broken down the syllabus. Right? Just put tick marks there. And then you have certain other concepts, that is new public administration, public choice theory, challenges of liberalization, privatization, globalization, good governance, something that you read in GS paper 2 as well, concept application, etc., and then the new public management. So these are nothing but the theories. These are the theoretical frameworks on which you will see the administration happening in the present times or in the past. You can see that how it happened. So the first unit is about this. If you will see the syllabus breakdown that I have provided you, initially we'll be talking about meaning, scope, significance, right? Public and private administration. Then we will take a break. We will take up these theories later, because first we will introduce the discipline to you all. Okay, so once this happens, that brings us to the another unit of administrative thought. Here you have scholars and scholars and scholars, various schools of thought. So you have so many scholars and theories, right? Various scholars and theories. This forms the backbone of the subject. This is one of the most highly rewarding units in the examination, because a majority of the questions are asked from this unit. Because you see, these all thinkers that we are going to study, the theories that we are going to study, will have a relationship with the concepts and topics. So we will have to use them, link them, interlink them. So a broad framework of a thinker would be, or a scholar would be, that what is this theory all about, right? And obviously theory will have criticisms. Those criticisms will be by other scholars. other scholars. So for example, you would have had old people in your families. They have a certain mindset of what is right, what is wrong. For example, your parents might say that, you know, son or daughter, wherever you want to invest money, invest in fixed deposit. Don't go for mutual fund or share market. Whereas you being you will have a different idea. You will say, no papa, no mummy, you know, there you have more returns. I know how market works and, you know, things like that. So there is a generational shift that is happening from a traditional to a new, and this new becomes traditional when the next generation comes in. So similarly, various schools of thoughts are there. Some traditional, and then the follow-ons have criticized them that this was lacking, this was lacking, this was lacking. The people who were traditional were thinking in their space and time, what was relevant for their space and time. So that makes public administration as a highly ecological discipline. Just like you all, I have an ecology. So right now winters are on the sunset, summers are coming up. So our clothing has changed, our food preferences have changed, whether we use a fan or an AC or a blanket, those preferences have changed, right? Similarly, when there was extreme cold, our preferences were different. So we were responding to what? Our environment, our ecology. Similar is the case of public administration. That what was good, let us say 100 years back, might not be good enough today. So it needs to change. And that is from where the different schools of thought, traditional, new, you know, others, they actually come into the play. Okay, so we'll be learning about scholars here, right? For example, Gandhiji said that, you know, truth. Gandhiji talked about truth. So that is something which is a moral value also. We all, our parents, our elders, our teachers always tell us that you should never lie. You should be truthful. So one, that was a philosophy. And that philosophy has translated into actions or actual behavior. Okay. So that brings me to the third unit of paper 1. That is administrative behavior. In this administrative behavior, you will have concepts, decision making, communication, morale, motivation, leadership, and obviously they will have their own theories. So I have clubbed all the theories. If you will see in this, I have written behavioralism, postmodernism, post-structuralism, etc. Various theories I have written. Along with this, the theories of leadership, etc. Okay? Understood? So there we will cover all these concepts, the theory and the practice behind them. For example, I ask you that you have 100 rupees and in 100 rupees you have to eat today's meal. You do not have a budget beyond 100 rupees. So breakfast, lunch, dinner. So you are constrained by what? Those 100 rupees. Then you are constrained by your food preferences, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. For people, those who are vegetarian or non-vegetarian, there can be other conditions as well. So this is first condition. Second is food preference. Third is that space and time, whether Navratras are going on or Rosas are going on, Ramzan is going on. So there will be other constraints. Then there will be accessibility, whether a restaurant is nearby, whether food delivery is available. Right? So there are going to be many factors that will determine your decisions. Right? All of you do this, right? Whether you sit in the examination, you decide, okay, which question to do first, etc. So we are always making decisions. And in administration, you have to make decisions. And in that sense, if you see, decision making comes across as a core activity within the administration. Whether I should join this boot camp or not, this is a decision. Okay? And that determines your behavior and hence administrative behavior. So through decision making, I was demonstrating the relevance of the unit. Similarly, there is communication, whether you are willing or not, morale, etc. Now, this brings me to the next unit, that is unit of organizations. You see, your body is an organization. You have eyes, right? I am following the official UPSC syllabus, whereas here I have put organization at a later stage. Okay? So that we can contextualize. Our body is an organization. We have eyes, ears, organs which carry out different tasks. Similarly, there is a government office, there is this institution where you have a director, you have teachers, you have operations staff, you have counseling team, you have the tech team, you have the videographers, you have the people who have taken these printouts for you all, you have people who have uploaded the worksheet for you. Right? So what is this? This is an organization, just like our body. Different entities performing different functions. Aligning them together in concert to bring about a goal, to realize a goal, to attain an objective. Similarly, like I gave the example of an institution, the government, the state itself is an organization. You have various functions, defense ministry, home ministry, this ministry, that ministry. So you have various theories that are attached to it. And then when you study the unit of organizations, and if you will see, I have put that unit of organization. And then you see in paper 2, union government, state government, district administration units. They are also organizations. So there you have this interlinkage that is present. Okay, so that is how we, friends, we need to, bring about these interlinkages. Then the next unit is accountability and control. Obviously as concepts, accountability and control, but you will see in the syllabus it says legislative, judicial, executive. People are controlled by their bosses. The government is controlled by the legislature. You have question hours in parliament. Parliament is there now, or the state assembly is there. And then you have judiciary as well. You have courts questioning the government. So they are holding them to account for their actions. So there is this element of control. In your body, you have a brain that is controlling certain things. You have a heart that is controlling certain things. You have a nervous system that is controlling certain things. Right? In your family, your parents or grandparents would have a control on certain things. If you will do something bad, they will punish you. If you will do something good, they will appreciate you. So there is this element of accountability and control that is intrinsic to an organization. Just like our body, our family, our institution, our state, our government. And then there is this element of accountability and control that is related to it. And then we have various organizations that are in the play that we will study about. Then there is a unit of administrative law. Administrative law. So this gets a bit technical because administrative law is taught in LLB as well. Some of you, those who have had PSIR background, they would have also studied administrative law. And then there is application of administrative law in public administration. You are a police officer. Okay? Can you go and shoot anybody you don't like? No. You have to play by the law. Your actions, your decisions, your behavior, and you are a part of a policing system and organization. So that is controlled by a law. And that element is brought in through administrative law in the administrative field. That is by the name administrative law. Okay, I'm giving you a broad idea. Of course, when we'll carry out these sessions, there will be far deeper analysis because we'll be looking at them as subject, as like I said, as topics, as discipline, as well as profession, which we can see getting happening on daily basis, right? Then after administrative law, there is a unit of comparative public administration. Of course, there are various models. For example, I say apple and oranges. Both of them are what? Fruits. Okay, look at it like this. Both of them are fruits. If I say government of India and US government, both of them are governments. If I say apple, juice, fruit, right, it will have various characteristics, color, texture, taste, etc. Similar will be the case of oranges. So we will compare that, okay, this is a bit tangy, this is sweeter, this is grainy, this is smooth. We compare. So comparative public administration is all about the comparison of public administration. Just like you and your friends will be comparing your notes. You are studying public administration here, your friend is studying public administration somewhere else. And then when that person will see your notes, they will say, ah, what notes here, what notes? Right? And they'll say, should I take some? Can I take them, keep them from for one day or get them photocopied? Right? Similarly, the administrations, what one can learn from each other, that is only by comparison. Which one is better? Which portion or which dimension can I take from X to Y so that my stuff becomes better? So to study something, like I said, you will have certain parameters, you will have certain rules. So comparative public administration as a field of inquiry gives us those tools to compare the administrative systems better. Okay? Next is the unit of development dynamics. Okay, it essentially has two parts: development administration and administration of development. It is like I say, you groom yourself. One is your grooming and other is you indulging in the act of grooming. These are two different things. Your cooking and cooking being done by you, performed by you. Okay? By development administration, I mean, what are the paraphernalia I would need for development? I will need money, this, resources, agenda, goals. Okay, I need to make road, I need to make hospital, I need to make school, etc., etc. How do I do it? That is the development administration. Administration of development. What task I will perform to bring about that development. Okay. So these are the tiny differences. So the concept of development, like I said, impact of liberalization on development, because public administration is a ecological discipline. You developed from a toddler to a adult. There were various factors: your education, your family background, your friends, your relatives, your college, that determined how you turned out to be as an individual today. That is one thing. The other is what were the activities that you carried out for that. Okay. Next, after the development dynamics, is the unit of personnel administration. All of you, some of you might have certain brothers, sisters, elders who are working. So in their offices, in their companies, there is a HR, human resource department, who hires, training, firing, complaints, etc. So recruitment, training, promotion, appraisal, all those things are happening. So it is nothing but like this only. But in a more formal sense, in a more pubadish sense, we are looking at it as personnel, like people, and their administration. So this will, like I said, link to the unit of civil service in paper 2. Right? Next is the unit of public policy. So this unit of public policy is something that I can broadly give an example. There will be a theory, there will be models, and then there is a practical reality. For example, all of you must be familiar with new education policy that has come, right? That okay, earlier we had a 10+2 system, now we will have something 5+3+3+2, things like that. Okay, which languages will be taken, etc. So this is nothing but a matter of policy, how the state is governed. For example, your family has certain rules that you should wake up by this time, you should be back in the house by this time. They are running certain rules. And through those rules, an organization is running of the family and realizing its goals. Right? Similarly, when the government wants to realize certain goals, the government wants to educate the people. So it will frame a policy. Right? So a macro set of guidelines, a macro set of path to achieve the objective. Now what are the practical challenges in that? Okay. How these things work, that we study as part of public policy. Public policy as part of the public administration. Okay. Then we have the next unit of techniques of administrative improvement. For example, I gave you an example that you have to go to college to get the migration certificate, and the college people will tell you to get a bank challan from the residential branch of a bank in your university or college, submit the challan, then we will do. So this is an inefficient process. So a technique of administrative improvement will be UPI. It has shortened the process. It has reduced the effort, enhanced the efficiency. Similarly, administration has various processes. But what is administration at the core? A group of people coming together, working a series of activities as a set of plan to realize a goal. This is the value chain of administration only, no? So if we can make this value chain efficient, where less resources, less time and better outputs are achieved, that is what? It is the improvement. So the techniques of administrative improvement in that example come across as a UPI. So in this unit, we see various techniques, e-governance being one of them. Okay. Last but not the least, unit 12, financial administration. Something I gave you the idea at the very start of the session where I was talking about the budgeting and accounting and other activities. So this was the dissection of paper 1 for you as a syllabus. Now I will halt for 5 minutes, right? And I'll let you reflect that. Open your web browser, see the actual UPSC syllabus, see the handout that I have provided, and in that from page number 7 onwards you have the detailed syllabus breakdown, and ask me anything that you want, and then we will similarly break down the paper 2. And I have been talking about the various interlinkages just based on your laymanish understanding. Don't Google it for that, or don't do ChatGPT or Grok or DeepSeek for it. We will come to the first exercise of finding more interlinkages. I have given certain interlinkages. For example, if you will see the page 2, I have say public policy theories, paper 1, implementation challenges in India, accountability mechanisms, RTI, Lokpal, social audit in India, development administration, rural urban governance in India. So after we break down the paper 2 as a syllabus, then I would ask you to form these interlinkages. Of course, when our substantive classes will start, while teaching, we'll keep on building the bridges. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes. Just have a look at paper 1 breakdown. Let me know if there are any queries. Naveen, we will talk about the PYQs, don't worry about it. In the due course, it's a 5-day boot camp. We will be talking about PYQs. Public policy you cannot ignore. There is nothing that you can leave out of the syllabus. While I was talking about the paying emphasis based on the 250 marks, is when you complete the syllabus, you will have your own strengths and weaknesses. There will be certain topics with which you will be at far greater ease vis-a-vis other topics. And in that sense, if you will see, you can play your cards in the examination. That is what I meant. Public policy as a topic is important. Yes, it has not been tested largely for a few years. The theory part has not been tested, but the practical part has been tested. There are various government programs that have been asked. So we'll come to that. Don't worry about it. Public choice theory as well. PCT has not been tested. NPM is the flavor of paper 1 that has been asked a lot. But can we ignore PCT? No. There can be a 10 markers, and it's a strong topic because PCT will relate to NPM, PCT will relate to good governance, etc. And that is where we need to keep our tabs open with regards to such topic. So any queries for this one? Any queries whatsoever for paper 1? Indian administration, paper 2, 14 units, 1-4. Any queries, yes or no? Okay. Naveen is asking that there are many thinkers who are not explicitly mentioned in the syllabus, but they have been asked in the examination. See, there can be hundreds of thinkers, but every thinker, like I said, is aligned to a school of thought. I gave the example of traditional, modern, new, old, etc. So we need to remember the school of thought. Sometimes you might not have a thinker explicitly, but you might have a criticism of a thinker by the other thinker. So through that we need to decode the DNA. of that thinker. But don't worry, in our classes we'll be covering not just the thinkers which are mentioned in the syllabus, but other thinkers as well. So don't worry about it. Okay, for example, it does not mention Hershey and Blanchard, it does not mention Fiedler by the name. There are many scholars, but we will be covering them. So your tracks will be taken care of for a large amount of them. For those you suddenly encounter in the examination, there are thousands of thinkers. You need to pin it down to a school of thought. And through that school of thought, you need to devise that, acha, if this particular thinker is talking like this, and this is school of thought, let us say traditional school of thought. So this will be his mindset because I know traditional school of thought. Okay, so that is how we take care of them. Don't worry about thinkers. It will be done. We'll be doing an exhaustive coverage. Rather, 20 to 30% of the time of the entire duration of the course will be devoted to thinkers, because that is the base. Okay. Any queries for that matter? Any queries? Yes or no? Should I continue? Hanji, friends online, Avinash, Atul, Yogesh, Kunal, Tejasvi, Kuldeep, Daksh, Akash, Kabir, Prashasti. Should we continue? Naveen, Rahil. All right. Now, let us put the paper 2 in perspective. Like I said, 14 units. The very first unit which we'll be covering towards the end, just see this, okay, will be the evolution of Indian administration. Now, if you will see this unit, you will have various administrations. If you will go to a university syllabus, they will mention also the Chola administration, the Gupta administration, etc. that you read in history. But we'll be largely focusing on the Mauryan administration, that is the scholar Kautilya or Chanakya, right? Mughal administration and the British colonial administration that we had, because we were a colony for a very long time. And if you will see these administrations, the key to this unit will be drawing parallels with paper 1 theorist, that this is a traditional idea, caring for people is a modern idea. Example, was this modern idea present then? The welfare of the subjects. Okay, when we come to the British colonial rule, we will know that how Indians were treated very badly by the British. Were they allowed to serve in government? Were they allowed to become officers? So that will immediately link it with your personnel administration. When we will study that, okay, what developmental works did British carry out? Railways, post and telegraph. Was it actually development or were they serving their own interest? Things like that. Next is the philosophical and constitutional framework. And we are talking about India. So what is the philosophy? Gandhian philosophy. In terms of structure, there is a boss, there is an organization, secretary, deputy secretary, under secretary, so on and so forth, section officer, staff, clerk. So it's a organization. So we'll be linking it with organization. We'll be linking it with scholars like Weber, who give these kind of a architecture in their theories. So there is this intimate relationship that exists between paper 1 and paper 2. Often, many a times, this aspect is ignored. Right? So we'll be taking up paper 1 first. So paper 1 will leave us with a lot of sockets in which we will plug the paper 2, sealing the interlinkages. Okay, and that is what is demanded, because in paper 1 you will be expected to quote practical examples. In paper 2, when you will attempt paper 2 in the examination, you are expected to hook them or pin them with something related to theory in paper 1. So that will give you a sort of a edge in the examination. Sorry to say, a lot of it is not taken care of by many because they take paper 1 and paper 2 in silos. So that bridge never gets built. Because there is a rumor that public administration is not scoring. Arey bhai, it is scoring. 300 plus is achievable. But the point is, if you are not studying it in this manner, then it will never happen because the nature of the examination is such. Next will be the unit of public sector undertakings. Your ONGC, your railways, your post and telegraph, okay, Bharat Petroleum, things like that, because these are commercial entities, but these are also government owned. Ultimately they are organizations. And if we see India and how it has evolved, initially there was these PSUs which were sought to be at the commanding heights of the economy. Right? And how they have shaped. Earlier you had only MTNL or BSNL, now you have Airtel, Vodafone, Jio. How they are playing out in this space. This is one telecommunication sector I am talking about. There are many. Earlier you had only Department of Post, now you have FedEx, you have Blue Dart. In logistics. Right? So things like that. Okay. Then comes two units which are very related. Union government and administration and state government and administration. There is a break. Union government of administration in the syllabus is given unit 4 and state government and administration is given unit 6. They link with the unit of organizations. What is Prime Minister? How he functions, what is Chief Minister, what is Governor, what is President, etc. How ministries and department function, how Central Secretariat functions. So the theory that we read in organization, we see them in practice here in the framework of Indian administration. Also, you will relate it to the Indian polity part. Next is unit 5 of plans and priorities. We all study planning in Indian economy. First 5-year plan, second 5-year plan. Earlier there was planning commission. Now there is Niti Aayog. Why the shift has happened? You see, these questions, what, why and how, they are the key to understanding any concept. You should ask these questions. Also, when we write the answers, the incorporation of these elements in an answer builds reasoning and analysis. So that should be our learning approach. Okay. After this, we have another unit, that is district administration. Since independence, so the evolution of the district administration and the administration part linking to the organization, because all of you aspire to become IAS officers. Which is the most visible face of an IAS officer? A secretary or your own district collector or a SDM in your district? It is the district collector. So how the collectorate as an organization functions, how your district collector, district magistrate function. So we build around that. Okay. Next comes the unit of civil services, the recruitment part, the training, transfer, posting, and obviously the issues related to them. Ninth one is financial management. Civil services, we can relate to personnel, administration, paper 1. Financial management can be related to financial administration, paper 1. I talked about this before. Then there are important units 11 and 12. I'm skipping 10th for a while. 11th and 12th are related to rural and urban development. So the development administration that we studied in paper 1 will be reflected here. Then comes the 10th unit, administrative reforms. If you see, we talked about a unit of techniques of administrative improvement. Right? So what is reform? Reform is nothing but a change for better efficiency, for better effectiveness. These are reforms. Here you will see various committees, commissions, suggestions on how Indian administration work, what are the issues and how they should be solved. Then you have the unit of law and order administration, where we will study about police reforms, internal security, etc. So that will overlap with GS, internal security. And last but not the least, significant issues. You see corruption, nepotism, coalition, idea of regulation. Regulation is something that we study in introduction unit paper 1 as well. Okay, so these things will plug in there. Okay, including disaster management. So more often than not, when you study the disaster management, you study it from a geography or environment perspective. Right? But it is also about administration. For example, all of you have seen the times of COVID. Who were actually ensuring that, because COVID was a disaster, right? It was a health disaster, a health calamity, a health challenge. Who were actually monitoring, ensuring the administration of vaccines, supplies of vaccine? It was this very administration. Police, district administration, officials, government agencies, health ministry. Right? Who was manning the control rooms to supply of oxygen during oxygen crisis? It was your district magistrates, your SPs. If today there is a cyclone, earthquake, who responds? NDRF, the central government, the state government disaster relief machinery. So it is as much about administration. But why a natural disaster has happened, that is something that is related to how a natural phenomena occurred, the geographical phenomena occurred, plate tectonics, right, wind circulation, cyclone in case of cyclones, etc. Right, from east towards west, westerly cyclones. But the point here is who responds? Who provides relief? Who provides rehabilitation? Who rescue people? It is the administration. So this gives you a renewed perspective. Okay. So that actually covers the syllabus of paper 1 and 2. And the idea of dissection of the syllabus of paper 1 and 2 for you all was, one, to actually demonstrate the heavy interlinkages that is there within the papers, amongst the papers, and with general studies. And to establish a point that whatever we are reading is something that we can see all around us. We have all interacted with a policeman, we have all obtained certificates, some kind of a identity card, whether voter ID, driving license, etc. Right? So that was the idea. Now, if you will see, I would like you to carry out, I've given certain examples. There is task 1 on page number 2. Right? I want you to bring out these interlinkages. I am writing my number here. So those of friends who are watching this online, just write your name and send a click of your worksheet or whatever rough sheet you are using for this exercise on this number. WhatsApp me, right? And we will take it right away. We'll see your responses. You have the entire syllabus of paper 1 and 2. You have the internet. I want you to find 3 such interlinkages, though many I have told you. Don't try to be very different. Don't try to be out of the box. First, let us get the basics right. And through the syllabus, try and find out these interlinkages and bring them to me. 3 is minimum. If you can do more, the merrier. Okay. So you have 5 minutes. I've written my number. Just WhatsApp me, those details. Just click and do it. It's 8587873348. So this is going to be the modus operandi. We'll be interacting. Even in class, I will be asking questions, asking you to give me certain responses. Also, for those of you who will miss the classes for some reason or the other, don't worry, there will be mentorship sessions where you can discuss these things. They will be on Google Meet or Zoom. Okay? But I want you to work on this. You have 5 minutes. Be quick. Remember everyone, don't be in the fear of getting it wrong. No worries, we are starting up with the subject, we can go wrong. At least we will know how we are thinking and we can correct that. It's a process of learning, it's not a process of fault finding. So don't be afraid. Alright, I am getting some responses. Be quick, there are so many of you. We need to discuss the responses because now we'll be looking at largely the exercises. Great, great, great. More. Come on. हो गया? कितने निकाले? How many? 5. Very good. Come on, others. Do it. See, working in real time is fun. Okay. So when you do it, it registers in your memory. Okay. All of you do one thing. Wherever you are, whenever you go outside or if you are here in the class, you go back to your place. Pick up a rock. Okay. Pick up a rock like this. And demarcate an area using a marker for your finger, and rub that rock for 30 seconds daily for the remaining period till, let us say, our classes start towards end of March. We will start, right, around 25-26 we will start the full-fledged classes. So those of you who have not enrolled, enroll it. Okay. You will find that after a period of time, after even 15-20 days, if you diligently rub this place that you have marked for 30 seconds daily for 15-20 days now, you will find that there is a concave cavity that will be formed. So writing, practicing stuff helps that. Okay, just do one thing. 0.99 power 365. Tell me the output. Use your calculator. Tell me the output. Use mobile. You can use mobile calculator and tell me the output. Others, I am waiting for your response. 0.99 power 365. It will be somewhere around 0.03. Right? Now do one more thing. 1.01 power 365. हाँ जी, कितना आया? 37.8. 37.8 roughly, approximately. Now you see we have 365 days in a year, and just by a marginal improvement, this is what, plus 0.02, just by a marginal improvement in our daily effort, the way we think, the way we work, output can be drastically different. Okay, so hence it is very important that we put in that effort. I am putting that effort, and I expect you all to put that effort as well. Okay. All right, anybody left, or should I continue? I haven't received so many responses as many of you are consuming this session online. Hanji, I need more. If you do not know, tell me you do not know. There is no shame in that. Tell me you do not know. All right, I have few responses. The first one is from Naveen. So Naveen gives me 3 interlinkages, that is development dynamics, administrative law, and CPA. And in paper 2, he gives development dynamics with district administration since independence, then administrative law with law and order administration. Then the evolution of Indian administration with CPA. At the face of it, you are correct, Naveen. But we will have to look at a far more granular sort of an analysis. Why can't we go up till the topic wise? For example, when you mention the development dynamics, the development administration part, which part of district administration? The development part of the district administration, Panchayati Raj system, smart cities mission, right? That would be a better approach. Similarly, when we are talking about administrative law, right? Why can't we talk about the regulation, the delegated legislation, the rules, the tribunals, the quasi-judicial bodies, SEBI, National Green Tribunal, things like that. At the same time, when I talk about the comparative public administration, while we are looking at evolution of Indian administration, that is correct. But we can also look at public sector undertakings. How earlier they used to work and how now they are working. Okay, but good attempt, Naveen, good one. Okay, next I will take up Daksh's response. So Daksh actually gives me four: personnel administration, financial administration, administrative reform, and organization. He links it with personnel administration with civil services, financial administration with financial management, administrative reforms with techniques of administrative improvement, and organization with union and state administration. This is something that I told during our discussion. This is something that I told, so I won't elaborate on it further. Next is the response by Ryerson, and this is interesting. He picks up certain topics, micro topics from paper 1. Participative management, functions of the executive, which is by Chester Bernard. This might be heavy for a lot of you, so I won't spend a lot of capital on that because largely the idea is to orient you. And Simon, decision making. So Bernard and Simon are basically the scholars. And participatory management he includes with the local governance, the rural and the urban governance part. Functions of the executive he links with union government and administration. And this he links with the decision making with plans and priorities. Very correct, but you might have a certain background or understanding of public administration. I won't get deep into it for the reason that it will get too technical for the newbies out here. Okay, but the linkage is very correct. Good one, Daksh. Next, I have Rahil. So he talks about the linkage within the papers as well, a creative interpretation given to our tasks. So paper 2, he says that you have financial management and then you have the revenue administration and the administrative reforms in finance. So he has got to the micro topic of the syllabus. Very correct there, Rahil. Very correct. Then he talks about law and order, right? And then within this, the criminalization of politics. You have no Bahubalis who are actually the strong men who fight the elections, and link it with the significant issues. So he is working on linkages within paper 2. You see, the same paper 2, two different units, but linkages. So that's a very smart thing to do. I told you that when we do this, we need to see the linkages amongst the paper, that is paper 1 and paper 2, and within the papers. For example, when you will read CPA and development dynamics, you will find that strong interlinkages exist between these two units as well. Okay. And then he talks about techniques of administrative improvement and the values in public service reforms. Good one, Rahil. Really appreciate that. Next, I have the response from, okay, this person has not written the name, just the initials HK. So can you just write the name? The response is standard: financial administration with financial management, organization and ad hoc bodies with field organization and attached offices. Very correct, right? Public policy, planning and implementation with Planning Commission, National Development Council in paper 2. Very good. Very good indeed. Haji Akash, show me your response. So a friend here, Akash, links paper 1 organization with union and state government, standard. Personnel administration with civil service, again standard. Financial administration, financial management, again standard. Techniques of administrative improvement, planning commission with administrative reform since independence. Good one. Development administration and urban rural governance, and CPA with PSUs. Okay. So largely my motive is served that we have begun to think in that direction. Okay. Now let me come to the second segment of today's session, that is the PYQs. But I am not using PYQs which are actual PYQs in the sense that I do not want you to actually think how to solve them. No, just on your laymanish understanding. Okay, I have given two tables for paper 1 and paper 2. Just Google 2024 question papers, and the first question, question 1, there will be 5 parts to it, A, B, C, D, E. I want you to categorize these questions as static, dynamic, analytical, and if you don't get anything, miscellaneous. And again the responses will be on the same lines. Do it. Just pull out the 2024 paper, Google it, you will find it. No more than 5 minutes are allocated for this. Just the first question, I have given a table. You should be aware of this. Because we are not building a rail gadi or a train that the first bogie will pass, then only the second bogie will go. While we are reading, while we are understanding, trying to understand the subject, we should develop these basic faculties in our brains. Just need to tick mark based on your understanding. Just tick mark and send it to me, and then we will discuss it. I will not be discussing the individuals because there's no point, okay, he tick mark this, he tick mark that, but we will read the questions and we will try and plot them correctly. Signal me when you are done. Hanji, just reading, and what do you think based on our discussion? These are static, dynamic, what kind of questions are there? Hanji, done? Okay, we'll wait for 5 minutes. Right. So how are we doing on this? Done? Should we continue? Now I will read the questions. Okay. This is 2024 paper 1. The first question is, politics administration dichotomy debate is still alive. That means we are looking at a concept. I do not want answers what is politics administration dichotomy. That is a concept that we will study. But if you look at the orientation of the question, it is still alive. That means we have to say, or we have to look at whether a particular concept is still in operation or not. So that is an application oriented question or not. That's a dynamic application oriented question. And that is, I can say, also analytical in character. Next question. Formal organizations are made of informal groups. Whether we are talking about organization then, whether we are talking about organization now, whether we are talking about organizations tomorrow. That is a static conceptual question. Next, grapevine is a necessary evil. A very abstract question. You do not know to begin with what is this all about. Obviously, when we will study the topics, we will know. So this is a miscellaneous question. Because grapevine as a word has not been specifically also mentioned in the syllabus. Okay. So when we will grow with the subject, we will classify them as per in these workshops only, in these 5 days, we will take up certain questions and we will classify as per the units. There will be another exercise in second or third day. Healthy headquarter and field relationship thrives on effective communication. Again, an analytical yet a static question. Oops, sorry. Okay. Again, a static but analytical question. Media has become the part of societal lens than more part of societal lens than institutional lens. It's a highly dynamic and analytical question. Similarly, if we look for paper 2, ethics in public services has been the main concern of Kautilya's Arthashastra examined. So this is a static question as well as analytical question. Mughal administration was by nature centralized. Again, very static and analytical. Next, autonomy of public sector undertaking is a myth. So it is asking you certain things which is dynamic and wants you to be analytical. Next, it should be People's Prime Minister office. It can't be PMO. Heavily analytical. Implementation of goods and services tax has led to a paradigm shift in center-state relations, both financially and politically. So again, a heavily analytical and dynamic question because goods and services tax is a new thing. So you see the flavors of the question that we have. Largely you will find that it is a marriage between certain static theoretical conceptual lens and its practical application orientation. This is the nature of the subject. Okay, I have not given exact PYQs, but on page number 4 I have tried to give you certain example how a certain statement can be looked at as conceptual and theoretical. Have a look. So to answer these questions or to answer any question, we first need to identify its flavor, its texture. So we'll be able to write a better answer. As they say, that think twice before you leap. Right? Most of you have a habit that the moment you see a question, you immediately pick up paper and pen and start writing. Pause. 20-second pause. And that 20-second pause can save you a lot of agony. Right? So that is something that is to be remembered as a thumb rule. Take a time. 20-second pause. Think. You will be able to better answer the questions. Have we all understood this? Yes or no? Hanji, yes or no? Have we all understood this? ठीक है जी. Next. If you see the UPSC's approach, I have given a broad categorization. Don't take it as a gospel, but that has been the UPSC's idea of static, dynamic and analytical questions. Very few outliers you will find. So should we prepare for the routine or should we prepare for exception? Routine. There are better chances of success. By every question will give you 10 marks. Let us say in question number 1 and question number 5. Why to be emotional about it? Right? Okay. Now, the next exercise that I want you to carry out, and very quickly you will have 3-4 minutes for it, not more than that. Find a recent government policy and relate it to a paper 1 concept. Paper 1 concept. You have 12 units, so many concepts. Okay. If you can give me 1 or 2 government policies, that will be great. You have this exercise on page number 4 of your worksheet. Page number 4 of your worksheet. The model remains the same. Those who are watching this online, just click a snap and send it to me on WhatsApp. Okay, some of you are responding on the chat, no issues. Development administration, paper 1, and you are looking at Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Very good. It is bringing about financial inclusion, bringing people into the fold. If the Jan Dhan accounts are there, then only direct benefit transfer can work. Right? More suggestions? Along with this, Digital India. Digital India, you can link with techniques of administrative improvement or not? Right? What you were saying, Akash? Samman Nidhi. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. What else? With which we can relate? Development administration. Hanji, more? Okay. I have certain responses. Farm Bill or the farm laws that were in news. Role of media, interest group, voluntary organizations. Good one. Good one.
Sir, e-Kuber paid for by RBI. E-Kuber paid for by RBI.
E-Kuber by RBI. What does it do?
Sir, techniques for administrative improvement for the sir.
No, what does Kuber platform do?
For sir, issuing of the bond or
issuing of bonds, etc. So techniques of administrative improvement, also financial management and financial administration, right? Understood? Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, administrative law. See, don't mistake any law for administrative law, Rasam. We can relate Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita with administrative law, but that's a very far relation. Okay? It would be better linked with law and order administration. Alright? Now there are more. For example, we can link Digital India with good governance, with new public management. If I say Mission Karam Yogi, I can link it with administrative reforms, paper 2. I can link it with personnel administration, paper 1. Civil services, paper 2. Significant issues, paper 2. In theory, when I link administrative thought, human relations theory, I can link it with morale, motivation as concepts, right? Similarly, if I look at national logistics policy, it is about efficiency, effectiveness. I can link it with the traditional administration, which was only focusing on efficiency and effectiveness, not humans. Okay? So these things are there, right? So good. We have sort of built this concept. Okay? At least we are able to identify the study. Now, coming to the last segment of today's session. Okay? Coming to the last segment, Drone Didi, again, rural development, women empowerment. Very good, Daksh. Now, how do we actually produce it? UPSC हमें क्या देता है? What does UPSC gives us? Let us look at the inputs, because through that only we will form a smart study plan, so that we achieve maximum output. What does UPSC gives us? UPSC gives us syllabus and PYQs, because we have previous year's questions that are released by UPSC. UPSC gives us only this. Next are the sources. There are many books out there. A lot of you will come back and tell me, I have read Aribam. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, don't go for Aribam. It's a very basic book. Also, it gives you the content, but it does not give you the perspective, the how and why. It gives you only the what. So, start with IGNU. These are like NCERTs for optional. Then after IGNU, books like Mohit Bhattacharya, Prasad and Prasad, Arora and Goyal, and second ARC. These are the sources which are enough. So when we are starting up the program towards this month's end, in the meantime, what you can do is you can cover basic of IGNU. Rest of the books you can cover as we will go about the course. Maximum of them will be covered, the ideas in them, the concepts in much greater detail beyond these books will be covered in the class very exhaustively. I will also provide dictations and notes. Okay, but the point here is that when we are actually studying this, these books help us. Let us say today I have understood a concept, made notes, etc. 2 months down the line I want to revise, right? And I am finding a little doubt what I have written, why I have written. I can fall back to these books. There will be special sessions on second ARC which I will conduct towards the end of the course. While we will be on to paper 2, I will be incorporating suggestions of second ARC through the syllabus, but dedicated sessions will be covered. But that does not mean that we should not look at second ARC on our own. A public administration student should read second ARC, ideally the original second ARC, no summary. Okay, you might feel that it is voluminous, but there are a lot of appendices, old data which is not needed. You need to find the logic behind it. Just to take an example, all of you have seen the swearing in of new governments, new prime minister, chief ministers coming in. They subscribe to two oaths, oath of office and oath of secrecy. The ARC first report says, why oath of secrecy? Why not oath of transparency? That we will work in public interest, we will not hide anything from the public because they are public representatives, public servants. So a simple thing, because the ARC will give you logic. The summary will give you only the recommendation, oath of transparency, that's it. Why, how, that will be given by ARC. So in the meantime, you should have a mastery over syllabus in the next gap of days that we have. At least syllabus should be by heart. Certain basic reading of IGNU should be there. PYQs we will take up gradually in the class. If today also you see, I haven't taken PYQs in an answer format. I have only started with it, identifying that okay, where I can slot this. So that we will be doing through the sessions as well, right? But substantial PYQs, because a lot of questions will be inter-unitary, inter-topic character. So for that first we need to understand. So these things should be done. So when I talk about the smart study plan, the very first thing is syllabus. The second thing is limiting the source. In the classes going forward, we will be in the boot camp, this workshop, we will be taking up certain easy topics and will try and identify how do we make notes about it, so that in the meantime you can do your homework while the regular classes start. Okay, understood, Naveen? Right? So a smart study plan would be not just a blanket cover to cover reading of the book. I have told you the sources. I have told you what UPSC gives us. We have only this much with us. Right? Apart from else, everything is noise when we are starting up. The mental orientation that is needed, that is what we are trying to set through this boot camp. I'm sure today also you would have imbibed certain things in your psyche when it comes to understanding how are we approaching the subject, with what mindset we should approach. Don't have a mug up mindset, have an understanding mindset. This understanding mindset is critical because mugging up will saturate you. After a point you cannot mug up. You have so many 13-14 subjects: polity, economy, history, geography, science and tech, environment, internal security, governance, social justice, international relations, disaster management, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Right? So many subjects are there. And then you have PubAd. So how can we mug up everything? We cannot. We simply cannot. Just be aware. Okay? A small example was that through the way we link the schemes and the concept, don't you think the current affairs that is happening around us, we will be able to better link? Some of the students ask me that, are there any special current affairs for public administration? I say yes and I say no. But current affairs are current affairs. Are we able to take that current affair and link it with a concept or a set of concepts in our syllabus? Then it is relevant. If I say in excavation, new findings regarding Harappa have been discovered, should I say that is a current affairs for public administration? No. No. But if I say in excavation, a plaque containing rules and regulations of Maurya, Chandragupta Maurya has been discovered, which says what a trader should do and should not do. That is administration for me. Right? So we need to understand, we need to tag those current affairs. I will also be sharing as we go forward the techniques of how we should tag current affairs. But as a rudimentary example, I suggested this. So understanding should be the key. We will do less, but whatever we will do effectively. That is the goal. So that once we have done it like anything. Even at 2 o'clock in the night, if somebody wakes us up with a slap and says, okay, what is this? You should be able to tell. Right? So mugging up definitions, etc. is of no use. Understanding is of use. Like we took up so many examples of body, family, things around us and linked it with the administration. That helps develop understanding. Like we linked schemes, policies and programs with the units. That's the practical application. Obviously you won't write the example of body in the exam. It should not be. It is for our understanding. Okay. So that is the modus operandi, syllabus, linkage of, linking of sources and understanding. How you should do. First, you should be by heart with the syllabus. Try and find interlinkages. Okay? Try and find as many as interlinkages. If you have doubts, ask me. Right? I've shared my number. Ask me. Just drop me a WhatsApp. Okay? Don't call directly. I might not be able to take calls always. I might be in sessions like these or in classes. Okay? But ask me. Then once we have developed, we have deciphered the syllabus. Use this handout and carry this handout with you tomorrow as well. Okay, because we'll be keep on referring to syllabus. One handout is built on another. So the second handout will use this handout as well somewhere. Okay. So this way, try and map those linkages. Okay. Verify them from internet, from me, from your peer group. Okay. So that this broad web is set that okay, there are the, this is how things are related. So you have a holistic picture. And then try and read stuff and fill these plugs. Understand. So that when we start, you are in the right framework to actually go about this particular subject. It's a very interesting subject. Very dynamic. कोई bored तो नहीं हुआ आज? Did you got bored? Is there anybody who got bored? All right, no. Okay. So this is our smart study plan. We are looking at the examination. We are not looking at just the subject. We are looking at the subject in the light of the demand of the examination. And that is something that we should do with all the subjects. We are not here to do PhDs, like I said again. Okay? We are here to crack this examination, score handsomely in whatever subjects we are dealing, especially with public administration. And we'll do it. We all will do it. Right? So, I'll give you 5 minutes to ponder over this worksheet and whatever we have discussed. If there are any queries, please ask. Otherwise, we'll wind up today's session. Tomorrow's session will have more details on concept and we'll be working around a concept. And through a concept, we will see how to develop that understanding. Right? I'll be taking up concepts of good governance, etc. Right? We'll be talking about administrative reforms and things like that. Okay? Right, so your 5 minutes starts and then we'll call this session a close after addressing your queries. Okay, there are more queries? No. largely these books you will not be required to read after attending the foundation classes, right? These books are for help. If you can read it along with the foundation classes, then it is better. Though we will be covering everything in the class, everything, nothing will be left. If you will see the syllabus, I have given additional hidden topics that I will cover. But the point is that if you read it, for example, there is a session on second ARC. I have taken first report, RTI. But if you have read it, or if you read it after the session, immediately after the session, there would be certain notings, certain technical words that you might have not understood that will come to light. 1. 2, if you have understood, you can just scribble it down somewhere in the margins. So when you will revise, because there will be a gap for prelims, right? Where you will be out of touch with the subject for a couple of months or so. So when you take it up, it is easy, right? You are reading 2 o'clock in the night. Obviously at 2 o'clock in the night, I might not be available. So you should have a place to fall back upon. That is these standard books. Also, if you haven't read the book, it's a 300-page book, for example. Where will you find it? If you have read the book, you have underlined certain areas, you know where it is. So these are for help. Let us say we are covering a thinker. I have given 4 quotes regarding thinkers. In the book, there might be 3 more. Because often, the questions based on the quotes of thinkers. So they will quote a thinker, they will say, okay, this is something which was said by a thinker X. Comment. Like this, questions are asked. So if you have a repository, it's always good. Understood that, Rayasam? Worksheet link. It is there in your My Account section. Somebody can share the worksheet link, that would be great. It's vanished from my chat, the open link. It's vanished from my chat. For others, it is there in the My Account section. So just have a look and ask your doubts. Have a look. Daily, I would suggest 3 to 4 hours will be enough for now, right? Just 3 to 4 hours in a step-by-step manner. Syllabus, then the basic linking with the sources. Okay? Don't buy and rush to buy everything in one go. IGNOU material is freely available on the internet. Just Google the topic. For example, you are studying meaning of public administration. Okay? Just Google meaning of public administration IGNOU. You will find an InfiBeam or eGyanKosh link, right? Just have a look at that, read it, scribble it down in your notes. We'll be talking about in next couple of days how to make notes, etc. Just make the rudimentary set of notes. Because you see, the exercise will be like this. Class will be substantive. Okay? Where you will have notes, etc. Then there will be material that will be given. And then there are standard books. All of them will come together with your notes. We will be writing in the class. We will be understanding. You will be going back. 2-3 hours classes. 1.5 hour for revision and enrichment. Set. As a substantial portion of the syllabus will start getting completed, you will get into revision mode as well. Okay? Suppose, let us say we are conducting a class somewhere in paper 2, Union Government and Administration, and I refer to something related to organization in paper 1, because I would have already taught you organizations. So I will just invoke it. You go back and you see, acha ye kya tha? What was it? I'm not remembering it fully. You will go back to those notes. So that you will see. So once that revision will happen, that revision will help you prepare crisp notes, because during our 5.5 months, we'll be making a volume of notes, but you cannot revise them on the eve of the examination. So these making of crisp notes by yourself, right? And you are free to verify them with me. You are free to discuss them with me during mentorships and all that. You can come and drop down here and discuss. So these crisp notes will help you revise better. So the first cycle of revision will help you prepare these crisp notes. The second cycle of revision will enrich them. So this is how the smart study will be. So after this, there will be 100, 200 pages max, these crisp notes, and your entire public administration will be there. Okay. For example, I have my own style. Okay. Every individual has their own style. So wherever there is in notes, water has to be written, I write always H2. That's my style. Similarly, each one of you will have your own notings. There will be class notes, dictations, etc. But there will be your own notings, which you can see, skim, acha. Immediately the bulb will light, that okay, done. Okay. When to buy the books? Once we have done this, at least cover IGNU basic, okay, and then you can progressively buy these books. It is always good to have these books. What I am saying is that don't rush and spend your entire pocket money in one go. Okay, what I am trying to say is don't spend your entire pocket money in one go. You can even share these books amongst yourself if some of you are roommates or living close. The idea is IGNU is freely available on internet. These books, physical copies there. Market you can buy. ARC again freely available on internet. Because ultimately the convergence point will be these two. Everything should be here. Because on the eve of the examination, the gap between prelims and mains is not very much. We cannot hustle for sources now. We cannot pick up the books cover to cover. So the smart strategy would be that we condense everything in the notes. Third and fourth sources were, see, I'll repeat the sources. IGNU, Mohit Bhattacharya, Prasad and Prasad, Arora and Goyal, second ARC. And this should be the order as well. You should not pick up Mohit Bhattacharya before IGNU. You understand? You won't get the head and tail of it. Its language is bit technical. Yes, ARC gives values to the answers whenever we quote second ARC, that as per second ARC it is this. Also, there are certain concepts which are mentioned. Just for the example, there was this principle of subsidiarity that is given in second ARC. Okay, the models of e-governance that is given, G2G, G2B, G2C, G2E. Okay, that is there. There are various recommendations. So whenever you say second ARC also suggested. So it gives a scholarly weightage. It informs the reader that you are well versed with the subject. You are linking the theory and the practice. Okay. All right. Any other query? Any other query, friends, before we wind up this session? Yes or no? Anji. All right then. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll do some more interesting exercises. Today was a warm-up. So for a majority of the period, we were actually in a lecture mode where I was trying to orient you all. And there were little exercises, right? And tomorrow we'll do more exercises. We'll try and work around a concept and see how we need to, draw various threads, various dimensions, etc. Okay? All right then. Thank you. Thank you so much.